Alright everyone, Stropes here again. This week we are going with a Han Solo energy conversion lab build. We're using a bunch of new cards. We're using Wrecker at 6, we're using Poe at 5, and we're using the Adelphi Patrol Wing also at 5 on the top end, which allows us to attack with the unit. And if we've got initiative, we get +2/+0. There are a few cards in the deck which care about initiative, including Star Wing Scout. One of the main things we'll be doing here is using Han's action ability to play a unit from our hand. It costs 1 less, and then we deal 1 damage to it. So that lets us get Wrecker out on 5, lets us get Poe out on 4, and pretty important too, where's K2? There he is. We can get him out round 2 at 3 with his 4 power. Even doing the 2 damage to him doesn't matter that much because of his when defeated ability, so being able to get him out. Also in some of my games I've been playing on here, this Sundari Peacekeeper, you can get him out round 1. The raid 2, restore 2 can help quite a bit. Looks like our first round here is against Grand Inquisitor on Echo Base. Top end, I should say before we start, we're on U-Wing reinforcement, and we're trying to get out a whole bunch of things all at once. Kind of have like the core of a Sabine build. Let's see here. Man, I got a lot of top end stuff with those 2 U-Wings, but we can play Sabine and then play K2 the round after, so I don't think we will mulligan. Another top end card which you might not see so often is this Forced Surrender. It allows us to draw 2, and then opponents who we've damaged must discard 2. We've got a few ways to push non-combat damage, like with Poe Dameron, cards like that. This for a cause, I'm honestly kind of thinking, but maybe we'll get rid of that Forced Surrender. Like I was saying with, Forced Surrender really helps with control matchups, because if people keep resourcing very high, oftentimes they only have 2 cards in their hand, and if you've got initiative and you do that real quick, I mean, like and they're trying to save cards, or they drop 1 because they have 3 cards in their hand, so they play 1, you can sometimes get them down to 0 cards a fair amount of the time. There's Poe, so we can go K2 into Poe. Don't really think we need the Spec Force Soldier. They're also kind of in here for U-Wing because then they're a 1-drop. What we'll do here is we'll play K2 with Han's ability. We also try and get as many Overwhelm cards. We've got Wrecker in here. So now it's just whether we want to... I think we're just going to run straight into this 5th brother. Let's see, we'll put the damage on the base, I guess. Yeah, Wrecker's also got a nice win played, so he lets you defeat a friendly resource and deal 5 damage to a ground unit, which takes care of a lot of things, especially if you're able to put out a lot of damage on units with a lot of these cards. Let's see here. I think we're gonna go Poe. This can for a cause can set up our draws, push some damage in, but also we might just want to be able to drop another K2 on them. So I think I'm gonna get rid of that for a cause. They're gonna ramp. Han himself comes out on 5. He doesn't have a win attack ability or anything. I mean, like, he basically has the same action, so it's not like on attack or it helps you cheat it out or do the action and attack with him or anything. So getting him out is actually not hugely important as much. Okay, so we can get the Wrecker out this turn. Important to note here when playing him too, though, is if you want to do the win plate ability, you really want to have Han out first, and then do it, because you don't want to defeat a resource when you're at 5, because then we'll go down to 4. So I think they're going to try and ready this, although we can just straight up take it out with Poe, which will be pretty rough on them. Because Poe then will just be at 5. On here, you've got to pass for each of these 3 triggered abilities, so we can discard to deal to the base, which I don't think we're going to do, or defeat an upgrade, and then we've got to pick, even though we don't have one, and then we can try and get them to discard, which I think we will do, because we don't want that Bright Hope, so making them discard, especially if we can draw into one of those forced surrenders, can help us later. I think they maybe discarded a Palpatine's Return. Okay. Worth noting, like I said, we can drop Han here, and we can also drop Wrecker, so I think we're going to push on to the base. Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll deploy Han. And then I think we can use his ability to deploy Wrecker, defeat a resource, and then kill that Inquisitor, which I think is what we're going to do, because that will leave them without a board. So even though we are sacrificing one of our resources to do that, I do think we want to do that, just to get rid of the leader there. Actually, it looks like we can still attack with Han and use his ability, since it doesn't have that tap on there. Okay. So we'll resource that Marine. We should be able to push a whole lot of damage out. I mean, we got 10 on them now. We'll put them up to 28. I don't think there's any way that they're going to come back. In fact, we can just kill them with K2SOs here, because we can just play a K2, kill our own K2, deal the last 3 damage. So we'll GG them here. Yep, and that should be like the last bit of damage. Looks like they disconnected right there. Opponent has disconnected. A minimum of 1 is required. Reverting game state. Okay, so I wonder if it'll let us do... Looks like when they disconnected, it like undid their 3 damage. Or should just like let us win. Okay, yeah, there it is. So I think like when they quit, it undid it. But I think that will be it for round number 1, or match number 1, I should say. I will see you in match number 2. Alright, we are going into the top, at least set 1 meta deck, or one of them, Boba Green for match number 2. Let's see what we've got here. We can play a first turn red 3. Second turn K2SO. So I think we won't mulligan here. I think we'll resource the Starwing Scout and a heroic sacrifice. We'll probably keep this Bright Hope around in case we need it. This red 3, of course, is not that great into 7th fleets, but it really just depends on what they're playing, and which arena they're going to go in. So we're going to start with a no good to me dead to freeze that red 3. We'll claim initiative there. We've got 2 K2s that we can play. This Sundari Peacekeeper is also pretty good with its Restore 2. And it has a lot of defense there with its 5 defense. And this U-Wing will be really good for closing out the game. So it is honestly a pretty tough choice here. This Bright Hope is nice also. I'm thinking of resourcing one of those K2SOs, though, to be honest. We will play our other K2SO. So they're going to ECL out a super laser tech to get that ramp. I think here, since we've got no damage on base, I will think that we should actually have them discard. Which I know is a little unorthodox, but is keeping stuff out of their hand. Probably don't need 2 red 3s. We'll attack them there. So they can get out their Boba. We'll see if they're playing with his armor, that kind of thing. Poe is a pretty good card in a deck that can get rid of it. Also, Ketsu. I think Ketsu's the name of it. It's a Mandalorian card on a 2-drop. We'll see here. I think we can play this. We could also just ambush it out and it would still live. So maybe we'll start with this Spec Force soldier, because it'll still let us play this. Put a Dark Saber. Okay. Let's see. Play a Peacekeeper. Okay, so the Dark Saber give Boba +4/+3, so he's gigantic. But if they're going to keep that damage off of our base, honestly, and be attacking our units, we're just going to load him up with stuff. Okay, so we're kind of just looking for a Poe or something at this point. Really not getting the things that we need, though. We could bounce that. I don't think we really need to bounce that. Doesn't really make any sense, so we'll pass there. I'm gonna get a Boba out there. I guess we'll just play Han, just to keep some of this out here. I don't know if we'll beat them damage-wise. Maybe we should have put that 3 on there. Gosh, these are not the things that we need. I guess if we can get up to 7, we can try and get a U-wing reinforcement. So we can get 3 on there. Let's see what we can do on the base, though. We'll attack with Han onto there. So we might be able to win just with what we've got on board. So it's definitely let's see, a mistake with that K2SO. We should have just put that 3 damage on the base, because we would have won right there. I was honestly just not expecting all of that, all those upgrades and stuff right there. We'll GG them there, though. Oop, not FF. Yeah, GG's to them. We got it through basically, but I'll attack there just to end it. Okay, so we'll look back over here again. Yeah, we should have just done, like I said, that K2SO should have pushed that damage. I just weren't really paying attention to the kind of matchup we were in, or didn't know. Just because since we're playing an open format, it's hard to tell if, you know, you're playing like a traditional Boba mid-range or playing a Boba mid-range, which is playing a bunch of upgrades like this, because that's, you know, a pretty different match than you know, standard Boba mid-range from set 1. But that is it for round number 2. I will see you in round number 3. Alright, we are going into match 3 here against an Inquisitor Blue. So they may be on mill. So we're just trying to kind of push out as many units as we can. I don't know if mill is their main strategy or not. We won't mulligan here. We've got a few options. We can start with a Ketsu, a new card from Shadows, which allows you to defeat an upgrade when it deals damage to a base, but it's got Saboteur, so we're kind of looking for that last game to be defeating Boba's armor, that kind of a thing. Although I guess it wouldn't have gotten rid of the Dark Saber, but it does get rid of Boba's armor. We've also got a Peacekeeper, which we could play a turn 1 by dealing a damage to it. So I think what we'll do is maybe get rid of that U-Wing, get rid of that Ketsu, and maybe we'll start with a Sundari Peacekeeper. Oop, we don't want to deploy. That's not what we meant. We meant to play this. Okay, they played a new card, which are Hylobon Enforcers. They've got grit. It does have a bounty, so they can actually kill our Peacekeepers with that. Or they're just going to be going straight on the base. Interesting. Put a bounty on our unit. Let's see here. We'll get rid of that for a cause. The bounty is heal 4 damage from a unit or base. Or 6. But we're just going to be hitting that Enforcer with ours. So they can use that bounty, but it's not going to do them any good right now. We drew a card from those Hylobon Enforcers. They've got a Deathwatch. Okay, so they're playing all of the new grit cards, so we'll see how good this is. A pretty big contrast in strategy compared to our first game. Let's see here. We're going to play K2 though. I think we're just going to be honestly trading for their units. If we can last pretty long, almost like a mid-range strategy, because we can play, oh my gosh, we got all 3 of our wreckers. The long game with U-Wing reinforcements on the top end here. I'm not exactly sure what they plan on doing, but we can't let them just hit our base for like 5 each time, so we're going to have to like run into that. Now, it's like, do we do the damage? Do we do the discard? Again, I'm gonna choose the discard. We'll see if that hurts us in the long run. Looks like they discarded a Deathwatch Loyalist. Oop, they're undoing their last action, so we'll see. Maybe they just didn't want to discard that. Chose the wrong one. We'll see. After this, I'm really thinking, oh yeah, they just chose, apparently they didn't want to get rid of that. I was going to say that's a kind of odd choice, because they could keep putting damage on us, although a punishing one would have been fine to do that. Right now, we'll open fire on that. Just keeping the damage off till we can stabilize a little bit. Okay, I probably don't need both of those Starwing Scouts, although if we got both of them out, that would be a lot of air damage. I'm going to play another Hylobon Enforcer. Sure. Actually, what we're going to do, though, is we're just going to... We can ECL into that with K2, which I think is what we're going to do. So we draw another card from that. That's pretty rough on them. Each time we're getting rid of those Hylobon Enforcers, we're getting something. Play Jango Fett. While attacking a unit with a bounty, he gets Overwhelm and +3, which makes him a 6/6. And if he can defeat something, you get a bonus. So we'll play Han here. We're gonna just deploy him like normal. We can use him to play out Sabine or a Green Squadron A-Wing. I really actually don't think we'll play Sabine on the ground because we don't want to give Boba any targets. We'll attack to there. Actually, if we just like claim, we can run K2SO into that. we'll play that in the air just to push out more damage on board. Okay. Okay, so here's where the forced surrender can come into play. Resource that battlefield marine. We can also play Wrecker, just straight up play Wrecker and get rid of that Django. I'm going to play... Okay, this makes it a little bit more rough. 6 is pretty large. This Wrecker can come out and, like I said, blow up, but Django, just depends on what they're going to do. We can make them discard the last card in their hand with K2SO, but I think they're going to try and kill Han, so we want to attack the base, get that damage in while we can. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we'll play Wrecker now, and we will defeat a resource to blow up their Django. See, they can deploy. Actually, no, because they didn't go up. I was going to say they should be able to deploy Grand Inquisitor, but they haven't been resourcing, maybe. Looks like they claimed initiative again. This patrol ring's nice if you've got initiative. If you don't, a little less so. We're just going to keep going up, though, because if we can get up to 7 and draw into our U-Wing, they're really going to be out of luck. Okay, so they played a 7th sister, but really doesn't do much. And plus, because Wrecker's got overwhelmed, he deals damage to the base, so... They went up to 6, so they can still play... their Grand Inquisitor, but I'm not sure if they will. Just have to see. Actually, what we can do is... He can't ready that Death Star Stormtrooper because it'll just kill him, so we'll play the Patrol Wing and attack there, and then we'll make them discard the last card in their hand. I know we could have put the 3 on, but I mean, we've got lethal on them on board, plus that forced surrender. I do think that the discard is especially good into some of these matches. I mean, if you know you're not going to take, we would have to take 16 damage next turn, which is obviously not happening. So, looks like they're GGing here. GG them back. It's double GG kind of, because we just drew into that U-Wing. We've got a ton of damage on them. They're going to concede there. Yep, as long as we can keep this stuff off the board, and, you know, like run into like those Hylobon enforcers and stuff like that, like we did with K2SOs and our ECLs. I mean, you just have to adjust a little bit depending on the matchup. It's not exactly like the Sabine build where you're trying to run, or where you're trying to, like, you know, get out certain stuff, like save it for your steadfast to run into there. We're not running any steadfast at all here. We're just trying to get trades, pushing damage, and the overwhelm from wreckers, and even on the K2SOs really helps out, helps keep consistent pressure, consistent damage on there. But I think that will be it for match number 3. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, just be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more like it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.